We just got off yesterday from the feedback I received, a great session yesterday with preparing for the malls. I know Wasim was there, so Wasim, you could attest to.
Yeah, mostly.
When I talked to some of the top guys, they were like, I actually got some value from it, where, you know, they come to these all the time, and they really had a great session. They really enjoyed a lot of the health stuff from Justin, and MBR actually came in and led them in some yoga. So they really enjoyed that. And then I had a chance to just hang last night. Eric and Rebecca came out, and Wasim was there too with some of the guys, and just hanging out at Top Golf with the guys who were here, the CSPs that were here afterwards. Celebrate KP's birthday, and then Eric's birthday as well. So we had some fun just hanging, whacking the balls around. But anyway, I had a chance to just wrap them up yesterday. And as I remember 2 nights ago, as I prepared for my wrap up, and I was just getting ready, everything for our staff meeting, I was thinking about, you know, this next year and just what this next year is all about for all of us. And, you know, someone asked me as a leader, you know, what is your division? You know, what are you rallying behind for 2016? You know, what are you focused on? And all I could think about, you know, I was talking to the guys yesterday, and I said, you know, we have one of the most talented divisions, pound for pound, in terms of managers. That's a fact. I was like, I don't say that because it's my division. I'm like, you can go around. And I was telling the CSPs, I said, look, I've been here for 14 years. I've seen divisions, and there's divisions where there are several good people, and then like just the humpy dumps, whatever, But I said, you know, pound for pound, we have just an incredible team of very sharp people who are very talented, very capable. But you know, I don't know that I don't know that everyone in this room could say you're fully maximizing, you know, your potential or what you're capable of. And I think about for this year and everything we're doing right now, these next couple weeks, everything we have been doing this past week is all about, you know, building for 2016. And for some of us, you might not have started how you wanted to build in terms of the new year. It doesn't matter. It's really using this meeting, I think, to refocus and get ready to crush these next 3 weeks. Cool. From today, we have 3 weeks to really build. Because 3 weeks from today is the 23rd. I'll have my last interviews. I'm actually going to have an interview on the 24th around lunchtime, and I am going to have interviews on the 27th on Sunday. There will be interviews in the office. I might have one 26th if someone can run it, but we definitely have that scheduled to make sure that people are set up, ready to go, because we have students coming back from finals, right? There's a lot of kids that get back the 18th, 19th weekend. So I want to catch those kids, you know, all through the week. I want to make sure that we're getting them into our training seminar. So what is that?
I'm letting you go.
Oh, okay. Like, what is that weird little noise? So we, you know, as we're building, we can still do, you know, something phenomenal. And I went back and I was reading through some old things and through my journal, and I came across notes from when I read Maximum Achievement, and it's one of my favorite books. And this is going to be the first read for January for GCLA. So on the 19th, I'll have them focus on this. Right now, their assignment is to be reading 7 Levels of Intimacy, is what they're reading, which I think only like 5 people are actually reading right now. So it'd be really good to really get on top of them. And if you haven't read that book, it's a phenomenal book. It's a pretty quick read. It's big, but it's easy read. And it goes by fast. 7 Levels of Intimacy by Matthew Kelly. And it's just phenomenal for your relationships, you know, for personal relationships with a significant other, with parents, with friends, you know, with kids. It really explains a lot that helps you understand why some people do connect on a deeper level and some don't, just because of the things you talk about, you know, the conversations you talk about. So it's a fantastic book. So I have them all reading that. But I was going through here, and right in the beginning, when Brian Tracy kicks off his book, and he's sharing about, you know, his story, and even this is like in the first chapter as he's just introing the book, he shares 7 ingredients of success. And you know, and I love this because it's not, you know, for us, it's not really do we have the skills, you know, and I just think about, okay, what is it going to take for this group? What is it going to take for our people to really unlock their potential, to really see, you know, what we're possible of? And I just, you know, he talks about, you know, defining your ideal in each situation,
all great achievement begins with deciding what you really want and then dedicating yourself wholeheartedly to attaining it. And I think that that's really, as we go into this year, that's a really big premise just overall, is have you decided what you really want for next year? Is there something behind it? Are you excited? For some of you guys, I know some people were excited about going after the Rolex. Some people, it's just, it's hitting standard. It's growing by a certain number. It's doubling, the report, and what is it? Why do you want to get that done? What does that mean to you? For me, it's like, I hate being mediocre. Like, I hate being mediocre. It drives me crazy. It makes me sick to my stomach. I just don't like it. I don't feel I was put on this planet to be mediocre. And I don't think anyone was, but I do not like it. And I don't feel good. And I shared with the CSPs yesterday, think about one of the things that I would dread most is standing in front of my creator. And it's like, I have all this potential that I was like, yeah, I just didn't do anything with it. I want to be able to say, I used the gifts that you gave me, I used the gifts and here's what I did with it. And feel good about that. So in the intro, he outlined 7 ingredients of success. He said, anything you could ever want more of, or any factor you consider important in your happiness, can be placed on 7 categories. And the first one he talks about is a peace of mind. And he said the first of these 7 ingredients of success is a peace of mind. And he said, without it, nothing else is valued. When you have a peace of mind or harmony, that's essential for optimal performance of human beings. And I think about this, and for myself, when I'm operating out of stress, when I'm operating out of when I'm operating, I do not operate at my highest level. When I know what's happening, when I know how it's going to get there, and I'm operating out of excitement. I'm meditating in the morning, I'm praying in the morning, I'm focused for the day. I operate at my highest levels. And he talks about, he's like, this is the wonderful truth about peace of mind. It's it's your normal, natural condition. Happiness is your birthright. It belongs to you. It's not something you experience occasionally if you're lucky. It's central to your very existence. And I know yesterday, Justin was sharing just meditation, and focus, and just, what that brings to you, and just the focus that can bring to you and where you can perform. It says, achieving inner peace must be a central organizing principle of your life. And he said, you are only successful as a person to the degree which you achieve your own happiness, your own contentment, your own sense of personal well-being, in short, your own peace of mind. So that's the first thing he talks about. The second thing he talks about is health and energy. And by the way, with peace of mind too, you can't really if you're miserable, you can't make someone else happy. You can't give what you don't have, So if you're not in a good state, that's going to be a reflection in your organization, in your life, in your family. When you're just not in a good place, you can't just make them be in a good place. They're looking at you what the heck's wrong with you, Our people mirror us, our families mirror us, our husbands mirror us, and making sure that we're really setting the right example for them. But in terms of health and energy, for us, and that was, again, a big part of the meeting yesterday for them. And that's another huge component. You think about for you, your energy levels, as a human being, you think about performance, right? You hear Matthew Kelly talk about, you're not going to feed a top end racehorse McDonald's, right? What are you putting into it? How is it going to perform? And are you really making sure that you're making that a priority? And I know it's been a good chunk of the meeting yesterday talking about it, but even for us, I think for the most part, this table, we're pretty focused on it. But really, as we go into this year, I know that's a big focus for me. I've just been whatever, running around. I'm excited about the HTX 30-day challenge, and just having that accountability, and these guys really focusing on that, because it affects every area of their life. When we are focused on health and energy, a lot happens with that. The third thing is loving relationships. He said, they're the real measure of how we're doing as a human being. Most of our happiness and unhappiness in life comes from relationship with others. And it's really relationships that, make us human. And I think about, for us, long-term, friendships, intimate relationships with other people, laughter, and that's something that really brings people together, but also really lets us love, what we're doing, and really be fulfilled with what we're doing, and achieve it. And by the way, I think about in your offices, in your organizations, when you're having fun, when your people are having fun, when there's laughter, what kind of a culture that breeds, and people, they're excited to be around, you know. And when it's just, when you're stressed, when you're running around, just, you got to get things done. People are just, they're not necessarily excited to be there. They're not necessarily excited. So I challenge you guys to think about, you know, right now, your office, your organization, yourself, even if you're starting with one person. You know, one of the things that I told myself as we're going into this new year, I said, no matter what, you know, like this summer, I really hurt our organization, and I know it because I was so stressed out with trying to make sure to support you guys, to get the pilot going, like too many different things going on, where I wasn't having fun at all times at all, you know, with my guys. I was just like, all right, I gotta go, I gotta do this, I gotta do this. And I had so many things because I just never done the role, and I didn't know what I was expected to do, what I wasn't, and it wasn't enjoyable. You know, one of the things that I told myself, you know, as I was going into this new year, is this year, like, I want to make sure that the highlights of this summer is when I had fun with the SC2, you know, with the Alliance, the GCK Alliance. And I met with the 10K Alliance for that meeting, you know, and we had that meeting. And then conference house, things that we had where we engaged together, you know, even, you know, being at CFC and just having people together and having a good time. Like, that's what builds that unity. That's what builds, that's what helps your organization achieve at the highest level, and for you to be at your highest peak. Because especially in this business, you know, like, this business was not meant, DM was not meant to be a branch forever. Okay. And I get that many of us are in that position right now where we're building from scratch, you know. And for me, like, we destroyed, you know, so like all the development that we had or could have had this summer, like, it didn't happen. And we had the most people here. We created the most new business here. Yet for the first time in my career, we don't have a large development pool. And that was just from a lack of, you know, really diving in with them, really having fun with them, really developing them, because I was all over the place trying to help develop everywhere else. But, you know, can you make sure that there's an environment of loving relationships, of getting to know your people? I talked to Riddy yesterday, and Riddy, just like, as I watch her run her interview. She had like 0 for 13 show last week to training. She, you know, struggled with, you know, connecting her shows to interviews. She's like, I don't understand why people don't show up. And she has a great voice, you know, but the fact is she doesn't connect naturally with people. And she's like, well, I don't, you know. And I said, and I was talking to her about, you know, asking questions, getting to know people. And she's like, you know, how many questions do I ask? When does that stop? Because then she's like asking questions, but she'll ask a question. She's like, okay, so, and she goes on to the next thing where it's so like, it feels like very ingenuine. And it's like, oh, you asked a question because you were supposed to. That's cool. You know, you're not even listening to what I'm saying or really caring to know more. And I talked to her and I said, hey, she goes, well, how do I change that? Will that eventually come naturally? And I said, just try this for now. I said, try this for now. I want you to get to know 1 or 2 other things about whatever you ask about. Cool. So if you ask about what they're studying, hey, why'd you pick that? You know, how are you enjoying it? Or what do you want to do with it? 1 to 2 other things. Because she's like, well, when do I stop asking questions? So I'm like, ask a little more so you know a little bit more about it. She's like, well, till when? You know, and like her brain works. I said, I want you to get at least 1 or 2 other things. And then I shared with her, I said, look, the business we're in, and this might not be the case everywhere you work, but I think it is applicable everywhere, because this world revolves around people. Human beings revolve around great relationships, and they really connect with that. And I said, think about this. And I asked her, I said, what are you working towards, right? Like, in your life, what are your goals? What do you want to do? And she was like, well, you know, I want to travel. I want to have financial freedom. I'm like, what is that? You know, like, what is that number? What does that look like? She's like, well, I can't give you a specific number right now. I'm like, all right, well, figure it out. I said, you need to know that if you're really working towards that. And I asked her a couple of things. I said, the reason I'm asking you this is because, how about if I told you that by you getting to know more people and genuinely wanting to know more people, that was going to give you the life you wanted. That was going to give you the travel you wanted. That was going to give you the financial freedom. That was going to give you all those things. If you, like, it wasn't about recruiting this many people and getting in the door, but it's like, by you building relationships and getting to know more people, that's how you're going to reach that. And she was like, oh. And I said, because that's how this business works. I said, and that's how most of the world works. When you're excelling at the highest levels, when I've met the best business, the people that inspire me the most, they're phenomenal with relationships. They're phenomenal with people and making people feel loved and appreciated and connected. And when you're really good, and I suck at that sometimes, you know, when I get in my groove, I forget about that because I'm not, you know, in my merchant when I'm at work or whatever. But, you know, the world revolves around relationships. You know, human beings revolve and thrive through relationships. And I think about many of the people that come through our doors, they haven't had great relationships, whether it was with family, significant others, friends. Think about how many quirky kids, this is like where they're cool for the first time. This is where they're part of a team. Maybe they just like weren't athletic at all, and now they're like, oh, I'm part of a team, and they feel that team unity, and you provide that for them. Seriously, I can think of so many people through the past decade of being a TM, 13 years of running an office, that this place just it created a new sense of belonging, a new sense of confidence, a new sense of meaning, for some of their lives. Like I've had several kids who literally were suicidal and had tried to commit suicide. And I can think of 3 main ones. One was an AM for me for 2 years. One was an AM for me for 7 years, and a top CSP. And one was just like the head key staffer of my first office in Sarasota, who I had no idea behind the scenes were struggling with suicide and just a lot of different things. And then they're learning that later, and what our environment and what our office did for them. And I'm like, man, and for me, that gives me purpose and that excites me. And that might not be something that drives everybody, but know that your organization, your culture, your environment, it's a game changer for people. Okay. It's a lifesaver for people. And I don't want you to take that lightly, because we have the best quote unquote boys and girls club. We have the best whatever it is that they can join, whether it's Toastmasters or when it comes to skills for life and public speaking, that we can teach in an environment where they're encouraged, they're supported, and they're poured into. So don't forget to do that for your people. And it was a good reminder, for me to remember that too. The fourth thing that Brian Tracy in 7 Ingredients of Success he lists is financial freedom. And it really is, a huge factor, because again, when we're focusing on, oh my gosh, I have to pay this, I have to do that, and we're stressed out about money, we're not going to perform at the levels that we want to perform at. And he says, to be financially free means that you have enough money so that you don't worry about it continually, as most people do. And this is, for you guys, you also need to identify, what that is for you. But I love when he puts like that. It's like you don't have to stress, but then you might have obviously your specific goals that are going to make you feel, accomplished, of having your first 50K, like, by the way, the goal is everyone, how do we help everybody a year from now have their first $50,000 in savings? How do we get that done? And by the way, that's a very doable thing. It's a very doable thing. We have 3 quantum bonuses you can get for the year, where you can get up to 10 grand each. Those are bonuses. That shouldn't even be used to pay bills. That should be savings, And then what can you be doing off your organization to profit, and that to put into savings? That's saying, can you put away $2,500 to $5,000 in the spring? Can you put away $2,500 to $5,000 in the fall? And the summer is where you can put away 10, 15, 20,000 or more. In the summer, my goal was to always put away 50 grand or more and save, always. And as you guys are building your pool, your development pool, I think about, that's an extra, for you guys. Can you help your guys have a heck of a summer? Can you put away an extra $2,500 to $5,000 from each of your branches this summer? All right, from each of your DMs. And it's exciting to look at. Everyone on our district team will have someone going out. I'm going to hold back Eric's. Eric's will be the exception, which he could have Paul going out, but I want him to stay back with him to make sure we build something even stronger for next year. And then Paul will go out and crush it, the following year. But I think about the power of having that, so if you have $2,500 to $5,000 in spring, $2,500 to $5,000 in the summer from one of your development. Some of you guys have $5,000, $7,500, 10 grand from your development, right? And guys, development's where it gets really exciting. You want to start putting away big chunks of money, help other people maximize their opportunity with us, and you're going to start putting away some big chunks of money, but how can you, and maybe next year, some of you guys are a little behind on finances. It's your first $25,000 in the bank. That's a huge win. All right. Even being debt free by the end of the year is a huge win. But, can that be something that excites you? And can we break down numbers where it's like, how do I have 25,000? Can I have my first 50,000? For some people, it's their first 100,000. For some people, it's getting to the 200,000 mark, and maybe it's by 150, 200, but getting something that excites you, pulls you, and every year putting away at it. I think about, what would it take in the next 5 to 6 years to be able to have, and that was something for me that I had put down, and for me it was put away another, $250,000. And for you, it might be like, have my first $250,000 put away in the next 5 to 6 years. By the way, with the DM opportunity, we have that. with having a super bonus every 3 years that's based on new business, by the way, there's a hell of an opportunity to put away some big chunks of money. With development, you think about 5 years of development pools, of super bonus, of growth bonuses, and what you can be doing with that, and having a business that's striving to build the future that you want. And guys, the fact that all comes with new business. We're going to be going through that today when we break down numbers. To me, like CSPs help hit growth bonus, hit campaign bonuses, help hit certain bonuses. But where we build wealth is really, new business. Like that's where our biggest money comes from, our biggest payout comes from, our monthly bonuses, our super bonuses, they come from new business. And by the way, more development comes from more new business, and more layers. And that adds a lot of extra money into your pocket, so can you really think about that too? And money is important, and it's not the motivator for everybody. And I understand that. And I say this in my training all the time, but it provides freedom. And it provides freedom to do what you want, when you want, with whom you want. Those are pretty powerful freaking things. And to not always be stressed, to not have anxiety. People lose peace of mind because of worrying about money. Many health problems are caused by stress and worry about money. Like stress causes you to break down. It causes toxins in your body. It causes you to unravel. And people, there's so much stress about that. And so you really owe it to yourself to develop your talents and abilities to the point where you can earn enough money so you never have to worry about that, and you can be at your best state, all right? And Brian Tracy talks about it. He says, imagine you had a magic wand and that you could wave it. You could wave that wand to design your financial life in the way you wanted. What would your life look like if you achieved all your financial goals? What difference would it make in your day-to-day activities? What would you be doing more of or less of? And he said, how much would you like to be earning 1 year, 5 years, 10 years from today? What kind of lifestyle would you like to be enjoying? How much would you like to have in the bank? And these are very important questions. And as you're looking at your planning, that's something to look at and think about. And something I want to do, by the way, with each of you guys during the new year, during the push, I'm going to be taking a day with each DM, like in the beginning of January, because I want to look at specifics of finances and dive in and look at your annual goals, planning goals, how we're going to hit, and what does a 3 to 5 year plan look like. So I know right now we're all going to be getting stuff ready, and I might have some time, but it's Mary Lou and I really driving the pilot right now. We're training ready to learn how to run interviews. We're training, Tay, how to run it, but even Tay, like, oh yeah, I'm leaving in 2 weeks, and I move back to Ole Miss, and I'm like, when does school start? So figuring that out. But I want to make sure that we build for this. We build for this next year the right way. All right. Number 5, Tracy states, worthy goals and ideals. And this is so important. I remember, guys, 2 years ago, in fall of 2013, I took basically a mini sabbatical, and I left for a couple weeks, and I drove up the coast, visited some family, stayed with my little sister that many of you met that was down here on the planet, and I just sat there. And this was after my sister had passed 6 months later, or 4 months later, and I just sat and journaled. I reread Matthew Kelly's book. I remade a dreams list because one of the things that I remember, just breaking down and bawling, and I hadn't lost my shit in so long. And I was like, I've lost my sense of purpose. And I just felt so unfocused, and there was no end vision that fired me up. Everything was so blurry because for me, past, and it just that. It really shakes my world because it just, for me, I'm like, crap, how about if I'm gone tomorrow? Where's the balance? What do I want to be doing? And it really just kind of shook my world. And I'm like, man, am I still doing, I've been in this Cutco business at that time for 11 and a half years, almost 12 years. I'm like, do I want to be doing this? Is this what I'm like, am I ready to move on? And I remembered as I sat and I journaled and I wrote down all my personal goals, and this had nothing to do with business, but just all my personal goals and also professional goals of other things I wanted to own. I sat down and wrote all those things. I looked at it and I'm like, gosh, I have the best vehicle to reach all these things, I have so many travel goals. How many jobs give you the flexibility to do that? You know, I was with Rebecca last night and we're like talking about the St. Peter's. She's like, I have to count days. And I'm like, oh, like that is my worst nightmare, is to have to count days. Like that is to me the worst thing ever that could happen in my life, is to have a job where I have to count vacation days. Like I don't even know how that would, like how I can handle that. You know, I don't. I'm like, what? At Thanksgiving, we're planning my sister's 30th birthday. She's like, oh, well, I'm still, since I took the new promotion, now they said I might not have the days off for my birthday. So I have to put in a bid and see if I get them. I was like, what? I'm like, it's your 30th birthday. Take the freaking week off, you know? And I've just been so spoiled since the age of 19. I'm so like, my mindset is so warped when it comes to like how vacations work. And I'm like, people get 2 weeks of paid vacation a year. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like that makes, I'm taking 2 weeks. I take 2 weeks at a time. I don't understand that. But you know, like my job allows me to have the flexibility to achieve so many of those goals. And then a lot of the financial goals, right? I'm like owning different properties, starting different businesses, all these things. Like I have a resource where I can produce a lot of income. And I know that when you're younger, you know, when you're a newer DM or you're a younger DM, or you're starting over, if you haven't gotten your business to a sustained adult business, it's hard to see it. And I get it, because I remember being there like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm broke as hell. I made way more money selling. But when you really build this the right way, it's an unbelievable amount of income that you can earn as a district manager. Like it really is a phenomenon. And you see all the top people who've bought homes in our financial fitness, and most DVMs can tell you their first home, a lot of their first 100 grand plus was all at DM money, you know, not DVC or DVM money. Like, oh, well, those are the top people. Well, you know what? I believe that we have caliber of people that should be the top people in our company. Like when you look at what's the top 20 percentile, all of our people on our team should be in that group. Like, I mean, look at the people out there. You guys have been SLC. You meet people. Yeah, there's some people that are pretty impressive, but for the most part, I'm not impressed with a lot of people. I'm like, all right, cool. You know, like they're sharp people, but it's the top 20%, and that'll always be. All right. And in life, the top 20% do 80% of production, and that's how it's always going to be. You know, and so are you going to be part of the 80% that's doing 20%, or are you going to put yourself in the top 20%? And to me, that's just you making a decision to say, look, I have X, Y, and remind your guys constantly, like this whole process and during this break, they need to hear this a million times. Like it is not going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it. You know, the break is not going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it. And it's going to pay off. The summer is not going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it. And it's going to pay off. And they need to hear that over and over from us, guys. They need to be hearing that. And adversity willingly undergone is the greatest virtue. And I love that. And that's my old DVM. Love that quote, you know, but your guys making a decision to do something hard. Running a business is hard, you know, and for them to make a choice to do something like that at 18 years old, 19 years old, 20 years old, you need to commend them on that, because that's a big deal, you know, and make them feel damn good about that decision to say, you know, I could just be getting wasted out on the lake all summer, but I'm making a decision to do something that's hard, that's going to build my future. And I just, you know, don't take that lightly. You know, I think sometimes it's easy to get frustrated with our guys and like, oh, they're late, oh, they're whatever. And it's like, they're 18, 19-year-olds who decided to work full time versus go get drunk every day. So can you see it from a different lens and find the good and like, man, thank you for like making a decision to be here. Like, yeah, I know you overslept because you partied your butt off last night, but these guys are pulling 12, 16-hour days for you day after day, or, you know, whatever it is, even in the summer, to give a little grace sometimes. And it doesn't mean you're like, okay with them. Like, I hate people being late, but, you know, be understanding that sometimes things will happen, you know, and be able to move forward. These are old reports. I didn't get to update it this morning, but you know, we talked about culture earlier and making sure we're building that in our offices, because that, to me, that's going to be what helps us go out and dominate the country next year. You know, I'm not for one moment going to tell you I have everything all strategized perfectly as a DVM of how everything should function and all the calls and everything that, like, you know, Drew has to a science all put together. And I'm going to go watch him for a week and see what he has and put some things in place. But that's not how we're going to beat him next year. To me, the culture we have, the people we have, the foundations we have, that's how we're going to kick his ass. And I really feel confident about that, you know, and we have the foundations, we have the programs. I know how to run a great district operation. And if I have the opportunity to coach you guys and work with you guys, then that's going to happen. And that's one of the things too, like I'm in the first, a couple of days. I know initially it could be annoying getting everything going, but I'm really excited about the role that Ashley's playing right now and just getting the numbers, knowing what's happening, and really being in the know for all of us and for me, so that I can dive in and coach you guys and give you tips and help you out and really because I know how to run an office, and sometimes I get so caught up making sure we're doing stuff, or get caught up with one that I might not even look at other numbers, or I don't see, man, nobody signed anyone today. Like, we've had several days, and it's like, we've got to be on top of that and fix it. What are we doing tomorrow to make a change for that? So, make sure to, as you guys are meeting with your guys too with PCs, have them take a step back, see how they're doing, see where they're at, because this is a time where your guys have been really stressed, and we just need to kind of pour back into them. I talked to Bobby's guy, Daniel, on Sunday, and Bobby, I don't know, I was texting you or calling you to try to get some feedback actually yesterday, but you were in a PC. He was just like, yeah, I just don't know. Like, they start questioning themselves. Are they going to be ready? Like, there's plenty of time to get, like, it's not that complicated. All right. Again, if they get good at personal selling, if they understand and know how to do social media recruiting, if they understand the PR program and they're good at interviewing skills, they're going to kick butt. All right, they can kick butt, like, for sure. You can run a great office like that. And just making sure to rebuild their confidence of what it's going to take to be successful, and what they need to do from now till then. All right. So I think that's really important for us to remind our guys of that, and make sure that they keep learning, they keep growing, and that's just for themselves. It's going to help them have better conversations. It's going to help them connect. These are books that they've already that we've talked about. They weren't required to read 5 Levels of Leadership. Some did, some didn't. We just talked about it at our first prep. Most of them handed in. They read the 1 Minute Manager. I'd say half the group turned in stuff on Total Money Makeover, although some didn't. And then right now they're reading 7 Levels of Intimacy by Matthew Kelly, and then Maximum Achievement will be for the new year. But I really encourage you guys, to take on some of these books too. Can you debrief with your guys and have conversations about some of these books with them, so that they're learning, they're growing. The Greatest Salesman, I'm going to put that one in February. It's literally a 1 or 2 hour read. It's such an easy read, and it's such an impactful book that they can utilize. All right. And I mentioned this to you guys at the retreat 2 months ago, and I want to make sure that we really think about this, and we really, again, pour this back to our people, because even for them, like, how is this next year going to be different for your guys if they don't allow themselves to be defined by what's happened, right? If they keep thinking, I've only sold this much before in a week. I've only sold this much. This push, this combo push, you be pouring into it's a time to redefine themselves. It's a time to see what they're capable of. I can't tell you how many freaking times I've seen through the years people outship their career sales during this push. All right? Because they made a decision to do something different, and to push her and stop thinking about what you've done and say, okay, what could I do? One of the easiest ways, I think, to challenge people is to go, okay, Jordan, why is this person so much better than you? That's how I got, by the way, that's how I got to where I am. And that's how I've coached so many of my people. I just said, what's different? What's different between Eric and I? What's different? Like, what's that different? Like, you're sharp as hell. You know what you're doing. What are the differences? I always looked at the people who were beating me, and I said, what are they doing that I'm not? Or what's different? We sell the same knives. We have a lot of the same stuff. What's different? So with your guys, you say, hey, what's the difference between you and Fran? Hey, what's different between you and so-and-so? You know what it is for most people? It's a sense of confidence. It's a commitment to work ethic, and it's a commitment to find a way no matter what. Like, not getting torn down when they hear no's, or things don't go the way they're supposed to, or things in your office don't go the way they're supposed to because MBR, things go to crap, or people quit, or communications plans. Like, right now with all your candidates, there should be a communication where I'm like, hey, Jordan, in the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, while you're home for the break, you're going to get pressure from your family. You're going to feel stressed out, and you're going to just kind of want to disappear or not answer. Like, that's when I need you most. What is the best way to communicate? Can I have your commitment that when you're feeling that, I'm the first person you call, and you go, hey, I'm overwhelmed, or maybe you like call it something, and you're like red zone, like I'm in whatever, or you make a funny name for it, or we used to talk about with the Sherpa and the death zone, and they'd be like, I'm in the death zone. I'm in the death zone, and that's like a term in mountain climbing when you get into a certain point where it's just like the altitude and too cold or whatever, and you have a Sherpa to kind of guide you through, because you start you don't think clearly, and people like literally will walk, off the mountain, and they go crazy. They walk off the mountain, they die, whatever. And so they have a Sherpa to kind of guide them up there. And so this is our time where we need to Sherpa our people, through this time. And it's like emotions are high, logic is low, they're getting pressure. Families, like you just got home for the break and you're working every day, like whatever it is. So we need to make sure they're prepping family, they're finding out what's going on, letting them know they will feel pressure, they will feel overwhelmed. It is okay to feel that. You're doing something out of the ordinary. Just make sure that right when you're feeling that, you're like, Kat, I'm in the death zone. Kat, I'm feeling it. Wasim, I'm feeling it. And they're coming straight to you first, so you can walk through, let them vent, and get a game plan to get them back on track. Cool? They're going to need that. Not once. They might need that multiple times this break. Okay? So making sure that we're ready for that. And something I'm pounding home with you guys and our people is just making sure that let everyone else think about what they have to do while we simply do it. I want to make sure that they know like they're from here, and that's what we appreciate. So I want to go around real quick with you guys as we launch out. And there's some stuff that I went through now that I was going to go through later, which we'll kind of cut together. But to go around real quick, as we kick off and we're going into New Year, what's hot, what do you appreciate, and then I'll wrap this up. So you guys, get the guys on the screen up here too. Well, we can't see you, but Jacob.
Yeah, what's up?
What's hot? What do you appreciate?
We are starting our push today. We have 7 people confirmed for our alliance. So